guys. Thanks for listening in to this episode today of Tips with T. On today, I have Hope with us. Hey, Hope, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Oh, that's a lot. Well, my name is Hope. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a cinephile. I am a music lover and artist. And I started a company called Sonder Blue, which is all about film lovers, filmmakers, and community
Awesome.
in a
Awesome.
nutshell.
Awesome. So tell us, like, how was your journey of becoming an entrepreneur? Like, how did you start the journey?
Believe it or not, I started when I was a kid. My first, when I was, and I'm from New York City. I don't know what, because I don't know what it is, what the law is across the country. But at 14, you can get a work permit. So in order to get a work permit, your parents have to sign a little form. You go to your school, they form, the school signs off, and it's your work permit. And when you go to apply for jobs, you show them the permit. It tells them that you're able to work and all is copacetic. Well, my dad wouldn't sign it. In fact, no one would sign his work permit. So I couldn't get a job. And I was like, but I want money. What am I gonna do? And I went to a school, the Professional Performing Arts School, which has expanded. It's like a premier school for children in the arts. And in on the lower level was this like Head Start, kindergarten, school, and someone had recommended, well, why don't you babysit? So I did, and I would charge people to walk their kids from point A to point B. I would, babysit, and then I realized I want to make more money than this. So I got the idea of asking some of my fellow students to babysit for me, and I would collect, I would do my babysitting, but then I would also pay them to do babysitting. So I wound up making like really good money, and I was like 14 years old. I never told my dad because because I was like, he was like, babysitting is fine, but if he knew that I was like running a business, he would have been like, no, this is embarrassing, like no. So but because I was really good at it. That's the thing. I didn't anticipate being so good at it. So yeah, that was my first business. And when I was in high school, there was Columbia University had uh, a program attached to their business school where you could take, if you were accepted into the program, you would take their business school courses. And then during the summer, you would start your own business. They would give you seed money. You would learn business principles. You'd be mentored. You would be actually a Columbia University student. And so I was like, okay. And I got into the program, and I did that and I started my second business while in that program. So I've been, dancing between being an artist and in business since I was a teenager.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us more about all the different businesses that you have started on your entrepreneurial journey. Because I know one you was telling me you was babysitting. So what are some other businesses that
Oh
you
God.
started?
When I was in the Young Entrepreneurs Program at Columbia University, I started a t-shirt business.
Mhm.
It was more like practice, like you learn the principles of business. And then I started a personal fitness business when I was still a teen. I mean, that's what comes to mind off the top of my head. And then I've always been an artist, but because I don't like being poor, I went into the professional world, and I used all of those skills in other businesses. Like I learned to negotiate contracts. So, I realized, wait, I really like doing that, and, building relationships and things of that nature. Um, but I've always done something like business oriented my entire life. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I was really annoyed. I was with a company, and I couldn't. I just thought their I just thought the way they were managing was horrible. Like they were missing business opportunities and things like that. And a friend of mine who advises companies, he sat me down one day and he said, "Listen, you need to stop working for other people."
Mhm.
He just point blank, like you are not an employee. And he was right. I've always done my own sort of business, but I've never really thought to scale up on those businesses before because my interests were really in the arts. And so everything that I did was about, supporting myself as I pursued the arts. And he was the first person to go, "Listen, you're not an employee. You suck at being an employee because you have way too many ideas. You're looking at how things operate. You're looking at operational improvements, things of that nature. You're just not fit to be an important employee." I realized he was really right.
Yeah, everybody is not meant to be an employee and everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. So it's very important to know and realize what best suits you. Some people they get that drive to work for someone else every day. And some of us we are just like, we dread going to work, we dread being on someone else's time schedule, time frame, not having that flexibility that we need.
Well, I mean, you end up kind of doing that. You can do that in biz as a business. I mean, when you think about, I kind of look at contractors as employees that are not with a company, not on a company payroll, right?
Right.
That's different than being an entrepreneur. An
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur is a completely different beast. Um, and when you're doing that, you are on a time frame. You are still, in a way, punching a clock. It's just the clock looks a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to the level of responsibility and your ability to be adaptable and to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
I find that when I speak to CEOs, the ones that I think are really effective and good, or the ones I've met, um, they don't see problems. Like an employee will go home and they just did what they were supposed to do that day. But when you're a CEO, you're looking at everything, and when something doesn't go right, you don't turn around and go, "Oh man, that sucked." I mean, you may do that, but then you have to, um, take stock, learn, grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different mindset. But I wanted to make that distinction because I think there are people who think, who may be independent contractors for years and then realize, you know what, I really am. I don't want to work. I don't want the hassle of working for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone else to deal with the 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 issues associated with that.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say 2020 gave you or taught you in the terms of your business?
Oh, okay. Um, I think first of all, for me personally, um, I had to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Everything slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
And because everything slowed down, I think I was able to see things that I hadn't seen before
Mm-hmm.
in myself as a business leader and in my business itself. Um, on one hand, it's made it a little easier to reach an audience because you know where everyone is, right? You kind of know where everyone is. And a little difficult because everyone is knows where everyone is. So you have to be a little. I really sat down, and I think for a while in terms of my marketing development, I had a specific niche I wanted to go after first, to sort of like my introductory, and then I really looked at it and said, okay, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Who what is Sandra Blue? Who's Sandra Blue? Who are you? And that, and I had to kind of, and I made not a product pivot, but a marketing pivot
Mm-hmm.
that addresses that, because I don't think I would have taken a time to refine even more clearly uh, these marketing points um, before.
Right. With me, I think what 2020 has definitely taught me is to be prepared for change, because change can happen at any given time.
Hello.
So definitely need to be prepared for change. And it also taught me to be more structured. You maybe to have certain days where you do certain tasks,
Mm-hmm.
and let that be a consistency, and try instead of trying to accomplish all your tasks on one day. Um, every day that can overwhelm you. It can burn you out. So
Mm-hmm.
now, me going into this new year, 2021. Basically, I'm sitting down. I'm getting more in depth with organization on how to create a structure. So if I do hire someone, or I do need an assistant to come on, they know, well, on Monday, those are T administration days. That's when she responds to emails and get things out, or
Mm-hmm.
you know different things of that nature. So just getting to be more structured and organized, and always being willing and open to change. How can you pivot your business to where, now we're in the pandemic still, and we have
Mm-hmm.
to be virtual. So um, learning to be more tech savvy, staying on top of that,
Right.
so that's what that had taught me.
If there's any advice that I could give in that area, because I've had to do that myself,
Hmm.
it's write down your process, because someone else, as you grow, someone else um has to take it over.
Right.
And if they're doing it their way and you're doing it your way and someone else is doing it another way, it just kind of becomes a big issue. And you have to assume that people are going to sort of fluctuate, come and go.
Hmm.
And if they're doing something effective, you want to know what they're doing that's effective, so
Hmm.
that you can train the next person to do it as effectively as the person you hired who was doing it effective the first time. And also you'll see holes. Like I find, like yesterday, I issued a policy change after watching uh, something with, an issue that I was consistent issue I was having with development, and I was like, okay, this is a consistent issue, and this is all, I found it only because I document everything. And I said, okay, we're going to now put this step in the process, because we need to correct this flow, because we're trying to produce this outcome. um, and I think that's the difference between being a contractor and like a CEO. Like, you're looking at processes all the time, like, that one is not working, let's fix that.
Hmm.
So, not that I'm telling you what to do, it's just a piece of
So
advice.
I'm over here, while you were saying that, I was over here writing down little notes to make sure I can start implementing some of these things.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, if you're doing something yourself that works,
mhm.
look at what you're doing, that why it's working. Like, I think we do things every day and we're like, oh, it works. And then when you're in business, you kind of initially assume other people are going to just pick up where you left off. But people aren't in my head. Like, if you were in my head, you'd be like, okay, let me get out.
Mhm.
But there are things that I want other people to do, and I have to sort of spell it out for them. Or sometimes other people are doing things better than me, and I want to know what they're doing and how they're doing it and how I can apply it to me or incorporate it.
Mhm.
That's why, I'm a big proponent of writing things down. I have KPIs. That's a big thing I tell people. You need to have KPIs,
Mhm.
key performance indicators. If you have a goal, and quite frankly, I've always been this way. I never, even in my personal life, if I have a goal, I know what the end result is, and I work backwards, and I know if I'm hitting my mark. But
Mhm.
in business, because you've got so many elements that you have to negotiate at the same time, you have to make sure that you have to create, you know sort of roadmap that leads to the ultimate goal. So that means marketing has to hit this goal,
Mm-hmm.
development has to hit that goal, your operations have to hit this goal. Like what is it that everyone needs to do along an what's the word I'm looking for? A continuum to reach the goal. And the way I find the most effective way for me to monitor that is using KPIs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome. Well, that's a good tip. So you also have a podcast too as well. So tell us more about your podcast. Um, this route.
well, I'm not as good as you are. I'm still learning. And as part of it, like I said earlier, I'm also a cinephile. I love film. I grew up just film and music was it's just my backbone of my life. And when I started this company, I wanted to serve, not just have a great product that I wanted to use, but also serve the filmmaking community.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a program as part of our pre-launch called the Filmmaker Spotlight Series.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what each episode is, we sit down with a filmmaker and we talk to them about their career, right? Because we try to stick to shorts because it's easier to digest.
Mm-hmm.
We do have one feature in there at the moment, and I talked to them about their career. I talked to them about them and um, learning how to be a good, question asker, learning, and then we show the film. Remember the old days when during DVDs you'd have the director's commentary.
Mm-hmm.
We sit down with them and they walk us through their films. And they tell us things like, hey, this is what was going on behind the scenes, or this is how I directed that actor, or, you know, this is what was going on. And then we try to, and then they're part of our, then the movie itself goes on our platform, the interviews go on our platform. Um, you can watch it. It's a podcast. It's also uh, a video. It's going to be part of it will be streaming on YouTube and then on our platform. So we have so far we've shot a little over 20 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got some great filmmakers. There's a couple on there I cannot stop raving about. One is called Rebel. It's knocked my socks off. Knocks my socks off. Another one is South of Bix. So anyway, these are all really great films that we're featuring during the Filmmaker Spotlight series.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Hope, for being on the show today. So I'm going to share your social media handles and tell everyone how we can get in contact with you.
Awesome.
So, Miss Hope, what are some other ways we can get in contact with you if they want?
Well, I mean, you can reach out to me on Facebook. You
Mhm.
can reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel. We're still in development with that. You can email me at hcochran@sonderblue.com. Also, if you're a filmmaker and you want to be considered for the Spotlight series or to be a part of the platform itself once we're up and ready to go, uh, which is going to be later this year, then you can go to sonderblue.com and submit your film for consideration. Um, and you should join us for our Spotlight series. That'll be on our YouTube channel and on our platform itself. And our podcasts are going to be on uh, I think iTunes and Spotify. And
Awesome. Awesome. I was just about to ask you what platforms your podcast is going to be on because they wasn't listed. But all right, you guys. So if you want to get in contact with me, you can do so. My number is 910-317-0396. You can shoot me an email at contact@mjfinancial.biz. You can schedule a consultation, www.mjfinancial.biz. You can find this episode on Anchor, you guys. You can also find the playback for this video on the YouTube channel. And if you guys would like to be a guest on the podcast, just shoot me an email at contact@njfinancial.biz and we'll be glad to have you on the show. Thank you once again, Ms. Hope, for being a guest today. I highly appreciate you.
Thank you. Same here. I appreciate you.
All right, you guys, we will see you on the next episode of Tips with T.